Hello, fam. Welcome. It's another Wednesday, and you're live on Joy 99.7 FM. It's Strong and Sassy. My name is aKorfa, and I'm sitting in for your regular host, Enimo Enimadu. Now, I'm pretty sure you have seen our flyer around. So what we're doing today is you would want to call it open forum on Strong and Sassy. Yes, I think you can call it that. And that's because we got a few messages where some listeners had things bothering them about their relationships and on topical and debatable conversations that they would want us to weigh in on. And we're like, why not we assemble our awesome ladies together? Let's have a conversation about it. Now, joining me in studio is Harriet Nate. She's the CEO, Diplomatic Affairs Media and Communications Limited. Shamima Theresa Ayariga, who's a businesswoman, will join us later as well. Now, what we're doing also is we'll activate the phone lines way earlier. You get to send us a message way earlier as well. We have 60 minutes together, so every minute counts. So our WhatsApp line is 055 1111 997, and our phone lines are 0302 216 541. Now, young women out there would want to get married, their dream wedding and all the shenanigans and everything that comes with it. And then you find that is something that they're very particular about, because society tells them that, you need to wear a white gown, you need to look this way, you need to be excited about your wedding. And so there is that concept of a dream wedding. Then there are conversations on social media where people are like, okay, they've seen the list and oh my God, that's a very intense list right there. Now, before you actually go any further, there's a story, a very personal story someone actually sent to us, and we'd like to read it first for you to get where we're coming from. But also, we're also asking you to share any other story out there with us. We're wrapping up the month of love as well, so you might also want to keep that in mind. So the story says, I called off my wedding, and please, this is the issue. Kindly encourage me, for it is not easy for me now. So my husband-to-be told me he will buy my wedding gown, and I will only have to come with my wigs, and that he will provide everything. So we agreed to that. I used all the money on me to purchase dresses to fill my shop, since I'm into that business. And now he's telling me I have to buy it and provide for the visitors coming for the traditional marriage. And his mom is also telling me to buy her kente to settle her for the marriage of his son. Ladies, is this fair? I don't want to marry a man with different words. It's like he's not ready for marriage. Some men, only God can judge them, is how she ends the story of hers. And then you're asking yourself, what would you do in such a situation? Yeah.
Exactly. That's what is ringing in my mind right now, going on in my mind right now. Good evening to your listeners, and I know you are being watched on social media.
Yes,
as well.
we're on social media as well.
On YouTube. Is it a YouTube or Facebook?
We have YouTube, Facebook, and on X as well.
All right. So good evening to your listeners and your audience as well.
Yes, you're welcome.
Good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It feels like I'm back home.
Home.
Yeah. So it's good to meet you in person as well.
It's good to meet you too.
Very interesting narrative you read there. Very complicated situation as well, and you would wonder, how did I get here? It's a very sensitive issue, if you ask me. I'm sure someone might be laughing, and saying all the things that might not really sound right, like, oh, you should have seen this coming. You didn't take your time to study this other person. How did you end up with a person like this? Are you now realizing that they are not their words? And a lot of things will be coming in your head, from your mind. And if you do share a story like this with any other person, people outside, like your fraternity or friends, family, I'm sure those who will be judging you will be judging you.
They'll be judging, yeah.
So it's a very sensitive issue. But I mean, where do you even start? You talked about weddings. You talked about the dream wedding.
Yes.
The dream wedding. I like the qualification. The dream wedding. So yeah, there are weddings and there are weddings.
Yes.
Should we grade them? I don't know if we can grade them, but
how are we even grading them in the first place? Do you have a marking scheme for that?
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I think as a society, we are not really leading by example, and we are not being realistic.
Okay.
With some of the things we demonstrate. And the last time I was in a conversation with a friend, and we were having a very healthy debate. Let me put it that way. She had said a few things that I thought made sense, and I said a few things that she thought were pretty much spot on. So the question I asked was, when we talk about society, aKorfa, who is society? You and I are society, right?
That's true.
Society is not a person seated somewhere minding, his or her own business, and, you can see. But society is us. So this is what we have created for us. And I understand that society is evolving because the people are evolving by day. We are all evolving. It comes with its challenges, both good and bad. So you choose what you want to go with. If you are the type who goes with the flow, I mean, anything goes. You have no direction. You are not focused. So it's about the dream wedding. Can be very simple, very modest, and still classy.
Yeah.
So it all depends on one's taste and their personalities and the conversations that might have gone on with your partner, aKorfa. If let's say if you're a very modest person, you could be a modest person as a result of so many things, so many factors. Maybe your background, where you were raised, your parents, and a lot of things.
All of that could feature.
Could feature when we talk about a person's personality trait. It could be very sophisticated and also based on the same things I mentioned earlier. That is where you were born, where you are coming from, your parents, the people you've been interacting with, your exposure level and all of that. So it depends on you as a person. You still can be sophisticated and still very reasonable. I mean, choices are your choices. Nobody is imposing choices on you. They are choices on you. It's your choice. It's your decision. I've always had a very big personality, but when it comes to certain things, I've always been very simple with some of my choices.
Can you give us an example?
I remember I was talking to my mom. So we're talking, and I said, we're talking about marriage. And once in a while, my family would tease me, So we're talking, and they were like, oh, my God, I can imagine because of your job, if you are getting married someday, my goodness, that's going to be like the whole of Accra, And I said, funny enough, I don't really like a big wedding. I love it when others do have them. I love to show up for them. I love to look good. I love to support them, But personally, I love to have a very small gathering.
Intimate,
cozy. And then they asked, like, what number? And I said, like 12. He said, what?
12?
Like 12? I said, yes, like 12. So how are you going to split the number or divide the number? And I said, well, let's say 8 from my family and 4 from the man's family, And they said, that's not fair.
Yeah.
But that was just on a very mild side, where I'm coming from. However, what I'm trying to say is choices. You don't have to go with the flow. You don't have to buy into it, aKorfa. You could do it the way you feel it must be done.
Right.
Conversations, there are certain conversations that aren't pleasant to hold. Some are pleasant, some are very unpleasant, but it's all part of it. It's like the cake that you end up cutting, in commemoration of your big day.
Of the big day. No, so for young women out there who are dating people that they're looking forward to marry, and then there's a list that they're giving. Someone would want to find out, like, you'd want to know, will it be wrong for the lady to want to assist in getting all the things? Well, how are you? I'm not even dying, you're laughing. To want to assist to get all the things on the list, because it's a very big debate on social media as well.
But aKorfa, it depends on the narrative. Let me see the situation.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead.
It depends on the situation. It's a very dicey one.
Right.
But you need to take into consideration a lot of things. That's why I said you have to have conversations. If you are being honest and you two really, really, really want to stick together and be together, you have to be very honest with each other. If you want to assist the man, it depends. Let's say, so it's from different angles.
Okay.
Let's talk about authority.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to men, it has this religious meaning.
To have to be the head of the house.
Exactly. Men are the head of the house. You can't take that away from them. When a man is in charge or is seen as the authority of the house or of your life, you have a man in your life. Mm-hmm. It's symbolic in so many ways. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about the believers and then non-believers. However, I want to state that if you have a man who is groomed in a certain way, his beliefs about life are totally different. His ideology, orientation, values, and principles are different. So it depends on who you are doing this with. If it's a man, because one of the things that gives a man authority is to be in charge. Because he is asking for your hand in marriage. So ordinarily, men like to assume that posture. Mm-hmm. Because it adds a lot of value to who they are as men. Someone might not even really care, right? And they don't mind, also based on their values, their principles, whatever makes them as a man, and where they are coming from. They don't mind if you want us to split the bill, if you want to assist. I don't mind, whatever makes you happy. It could be coming from a genuine place. Okay. That they just want they want to give you that room for you to be a part of the entire event or celebration, or just if that's what would make you feel good, and make you feel empowered.
So you believe that it's not a straightforward thing for a woman to want to assist with when they believe that the list is a little bit too much for the man to handle?
If you want to help, it's not assist. I don't want to even use.
Okay, so then how will
it's a partnership.
Okay, so if you want to
partner, you want to collaborate. Okay. You want to share the responsibility because, and it's also a way of demonstrating your love for each other.
So before you go any further, I was going to ask, so then it means, because society makes it seem like then you, the young girl, is sort of desperate to get married if you contribute or you collaborate. But no, just hold your thought first. So yeah, if you're just joining us, this is Strong and Sassy on Joy 99.7 FM. Shamima Theresa Ayariga is joining us in studio. Hi, how are you? You're welcome.
Hey, I'm fine.
You're doing good?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay. Now, so I have engaged Harriet in
Hi, welcome.
You guys are very smart. You know each other?
No.
Okay. So yeah, Harriet has said a few things. I just want you to come in as well. Okay. We shared a story initially, someone who has concerns because she and her person are looking forward to get married, and then earlier the husband to be mentioned that he was going to get the gown, and so all the lady had to work on was the wig that she was going to wear for the occasion. Now it turns out that the man says, I think you need to get the gown. Also, the mother-in-law to be is also asking for kente because the girl is now coming to be part of the family. And the thing is, she has a face. She's made a face, guys. And she had money to contribute, by the way, but then again she used the money to stock up her business because she's into other stuff as she should into other stuff. So she did that, and then now she's like, she doesn't know if she has to go move forward with this person, because then she feels like the guy is not a man of his word, basically. So then she's in a dilemma: should she continue with him, or I don't know. And Harriet has shared some thoughts. What would you do in such a situation if something like this were to be at your doorstep?
Okay, so once again, this is Shamima, and I'm gonna be as straightforward as I can.
Yeah.
Marriage is a very serious business, and everybody has a role to play. The man has a role, the woman has a role, but when it comes to the marriage itself, you, the woman, have no business interfering in what the man has to do. Yeah, I can buy my gown.
Okay.
Because I'm going to wear it anyway. He is supposed to pay the dowry that makes me his wife. What I wear, what I put on, what I want to accessorize with, if I can afford it, I'm getting it. If he wants to get some, it's okay. But usually, you are also supposed to get ready for marriage. So when it comes to Islam, we have something called Tariah. You buy things as a young woman, knowing that you will get married. You buy things and put down. So when you finally get married, the man only does his part. And then if he wants to lessen the burden, then he'll be like, okay, I'm going to support your family with either money or cow or whatever. But that aspect, solely what you wear from head to toe, you have to figure that out. Unless he wants to lessen your burden, as I said. Now, you telling me last minute that you are not buying the gown, if that is part of the tradition, first of all, you are not a man I can do life with. You are not a generational thinker. You are not focused. You don't keep your word. You don't work with or within your budget. We have been talking marriage. You should be able to tell me how much you have and what you can do with it. So if you haven't been able to tell me all what you are doing with your money, and then last minute you want to tell me that I have to because you think I can afford it, well, I've stocked up with that money. Does it mean that there won't be any marriage? Because I can't go and borrow. It's not actually right to go take a loan or borrow money to do marriage.
Which is a very common practice these days.
Which shouldn't be, and that is why we have a lot of resentments among partners. You've taken a loan, you've gotten married, what you are expecting marriage is not springing out, and then you want to, tear each other apart because the pressure from the repayment is killing you.
Yes, so on that as well, the part about people borrowing to get married, I also saw something on social media where a gentleman was talking about the fact that the lady I planned to marry wanted 100,000 Ghana cedis budget wedding, and my salary, he says my salary was 2,100, and the lady wasn't working, and then she was so resolute, she was so insistent on the fact that this has to be the budget for the wedding, and so it also sparked conversation on social media. So
he should run.
Well, I think he actually did run.
Thank God, he should run. I mean, you are a woman, you are not making money.
You think it's not realistic to have a 100,000 Ghana cedis budget wedding?
It's not realistic. You can't afford it. You are not even employed to begin with. And even if you are employed, how much is your salary? How much is your take home? You cannot actually spend above your means. It's only wise to spend below your budget or your means, or within. Okay. Even within, at some point. So at least you come down so that kakra no dey see for rainy days or for miscellaneous. Anything can happen at any time.
Okay.
You get it? So you are not working. This man is working, and then you want to burden him with your
dream wedding.
dream wedding. Now, some dream no. When you didn't learn, you didn't work, you didn't save.
So, well, we don't know much about that, but hold your thoughts. I'll come back to you. Phone lines have been activated. Give us a call and share your thoughts with us. If you've got some other stories you'd want to share as well, you can also do so. It's 0302-216-541. WhatsApp line is active. It's 055-1111-997. I've seen a few messages coming as well, though. But I was asking Harriet earlier that would you consider it a bad idea to collaborate, because you're not a big fan of using contribute or assist. Collaborate. So I want to find out from Shamima, would you find a problem with a woman wanting to contribute to the list that their husband to be has been given, especially when society, we have read stories or we have seen stories where some women have done the contribution over the period, and then as time goes on they've come out to say that the wedding, that the marriage didn't go so well, and then some people also go and say that you're banning a worry bear. I get that. You do.
I get that.
Now, society can also describe this woman as desperate because she's chosen to collaborate.
And they are right to say that.
Okay. Tell me more.
Okay. Personally, and to every other woman, excuse me, I have cold, so when the voice is
sounding a little bit nasal, you understand?
So I wouldn't help you buy the things that makes my dowry. I won't do it, even if I have all the money in the world. I will help you to either buy maybe food for the ceremony. I can pay for the chairs. I can help you pay for decor, any other thing. But the dowry, nah, I'm not doing it.
So what do you say
to... Because that is my dignity. That's my pride. That is my bragging rights. So, and you, the man, I would prefer you use all your resources in getting that. And then I assist you with the ceremony than helping you buy the list.
All your resources. Please hold our thoughts. We've got Kofi on the line. Hello, Kofi. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah, so are you calling in to share your very dramatic relationship story, or you want to contribute to the conversation we're having?
To the conversation.
Okay, go ahead. We're listening.
So I have girl, okay, and I realized that we expect people to marry. Yes, still, we set them up to fail for starting. Tradition and culture is for us. We are not for it. We had a conversation about this whole list thing, and I said I'm not taking anything from any gentleman who end up with my daughter for a good reason. One, my daughter is not a child, okay? She's a responsible adult, and she's someone that she wants to do life with. The least that I would do is to create an environment where it will push them back. If anything, I would rather support both of them. So for me for one, I'm not taking anything from anybody who's marrying my daughter. I'm not taking nothing like a list. No, never. My daughter is not for sale. And I'm not saying everybody should follow. That's what I'm saying. Tradition and culture is for the people, and not for the people, the people for it. People have lists. I don't have a problem with that. It has to make sense. Okay, do you understand? It has to make sense. Some of this, when you see them, it's very crazy. Your daughter is going into a space. You say you want a good life for your daughter. Yes, so you have a presentation that seems to extort from this gentleman who wants to do life with your daughter. So they spend so much on the ceremony, money that they could put into their life after the ceremony. They spend it on the ceremony. Look, if you have an abundance, and 100,000 is nothing to you, because 100,000 is nothing to some people. There's no problem if you are doing it. Okay? So I'm not saying it's wrong, or you should have it in abundance. And you are doing it. There's nothing wrong. But if you don't have, and this is what is expected of you. And when you say it, they'll say, oh, then won't soon yet. So be worry about no. And I wonder, say you want the best for your daughter. This is someone that she's met. She said, I want to do this with this person. And you, the family, you are being a stumbling block because of your expectations. Besides, you don't know this gentleman. It's your daughter who does. Just like my daughter.
All right,
so
thank you very much.
Let's set our children up to succeed, not to fail.
Okay.
The ceremony you can spend on it. That is not what will guarantee a successful marriage. Or not.
Okay, the success of the marriage. All right, thank you very much, Kofi, for sharing that with us. We've got Collins on the line as well. Hi, Collins, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, so I believe you're contributing to the conversation, or you want to share a very wild story with me. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so marriage, cost involved.
And can you please speak up a little bit? We can hardly hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, so marriage, cost involved. I heard my lady saying that the diary is the pride of the woman. No, it's not the pride of the woman. It's actually your virginity and keeping yourself. That is the pride of the woman. It's not a diary. Diary is what tells your family that there is another family who has come to honor you for making a woman honor herself. Your daughter honor herself. So more the fun up with you. The training is given to your daughter, the decency your daughter has displayed. Our son will say, "Obi to me or our son knows Obi to me that is diary, and it cuts across every tribe. It has nothing to do with the lady. Now, the process itself, it differs from culture to culture. But one thing is clear, that you respect the father, you honor the father, you honor the mother, and then you respect the lady. Anything I'm more worried. But in this situation now, it is really not worth it spending anything to bring anybody to your house. That is the hard truth. It's not worth it because the lady, some of them in question, we're going to fit it out. We're going to fit it that. And some of them also have the mindset say, every morning if you do it this way, do it that way, add this to it, add that to it. Properly, every Ghana, every side will tell you that their marriage is a traditional one, where you come to the house, you present what the family tells you to present. Now, the lady's family feed you because over the worry of Balfour. And already at the about you. So they now feed you, so you go. Those things that happen to now deal with photo shoots, this thing, decor, bridal, makeup. Yeah. It wasn't part of it too. And come on, and it will never be part of it. Yeah. Ghana, we are very good with adopting people's culture and throwing our own away. I'm telling you. People will throw our seabed away and wear it together. The same good now. And it's funny, but I feel say if we should listen to or go back to how we used on ourselves, respect families and honor families that respect the lady that respect as wife. And we should do this thing. A lot of people will marry, and now they will marry with a purpose, knowing that it is not just about the way we feel for each other, but it's bigger than that. Thank you.
All right, Collins. Wait, thank you very much for that. But before you go, so would you agree when someone a lady contributes to the list that the man is being given?
What is she contributing to?
Say that again.
Man, you see, this is the problem. You, the man, you want to go and bring a woman. Yeah. Remember, so you need to be prepared. You need to be a man. Boys don't marry you. When I say boys, I'm not talking about age. I'm talking about people who think are not financial. I'm talking about people who think they are okay for marriage.
Yeah.
You don't think you are okay for marriage. You should be okay for marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get it? Sorry,
Okay.
if you're able to sleep with a girl 2 hours, doesn't make you a man. If you're able to give a girl money to go and buy a phone or buy the latest phones for the lady, it doesn't make you a man. If man, you see that stage there, if you get there, you know you've gotten there. I'm telling you, when you get there, you know. Now, when Adam had a garden and was working, that's when God gave Adam a wife. Adam didn't give a wife to Eve to Adam, so they will struggle and build the forest to the garden. No. So a man, first of all, you should be ready to say, listen, I want to also continue generations. I also want to help out. I also want to build a family for myself. Then you go and bring in a woman. All of them are not on to man out of and all of them are not so ring and not personal. You, if a woman don't do that, if you are my sister, if you do that, I will catch you. What sort of joke is that one? Let them, if he is a man, let him come and be a man. And then we also respect it. It has nothing to do with the amount involved or whatever. No, people married. Apostle General's wife, Mama Rita, said they married with a very cheap ring. Today, look at Warehouse Couple, look at Mama Rita, look at Apostle General.
All right,
And also,
Collins,
you
thank you very much for your contribution. Really appreciate it. So, thanks for joining in with that opinion of yours. All right, so we're still here on Strong and Sassy on Joy 99.7 FM, and I would like you to join in the conversation, share your thoughts with us, give us a call, or also send us a WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. Phone lines have been activated 0302 216 541. That's 0302 216 541. And we started off by sharing a conversation or story about a young woman who's in a dilemma. She's not too sure whether to go on with the wedding at the end of the day because she feels like Shemima, you're still shaking your head.
Yes.
She feels like the partner or the husband to be is not someone she can rely on based off of his words, basically. And so that's a dilemma she's in, and she's asking for opinions and thoughts as to how to navigate this moving forward. Now, I'm back to you, Harriet. I still want to know. So, aside the fact that you've had a conversation with your partner to be, would you still consider contributing, collaborate? Because you're a big fan of collaborating.
Collaborate,
yeah.
Contribute is a very, I think it's a right.
It's okay
word as well. aKorfa, what I think is that it's a choice people make. It's if you want to still go ahead with it, that will be your choice.
Okay.
But after seeing all these red flags and you still make a choice or decide to go into that marriage or to do life or make life with this gentleman, whatever happens, whatever the repercussions are, the outcome may be, that will be your choice that you have made.
I see. All right. Well, there's a message here that is actually adding on to the story. It says, "Hi, ladies. The lady should take it as her lot and blame herself and learn a lesson in life and in her next relationship and marriage as well." Well, I think she doesn't want to leave this one. She's just, contemplating. But okay. Says, "What counsel did she get before going the way she went about the planning? If you follow with your heart without your head, these are some of the outcomes." And that's coming from Francis in Accra. So Shemima, you also don't think it's a good idea for the lady to
I think that is a
contribute.
very big trap she's walking in.
Okay.
You are yet to be married and you are obliged to buy kente for your
For the
mother-in-law.
mother-in-law, yeah.
The next thing you'll be doing is buying Pepsodent, toothbrush, towel, kerosene, matches. Yeah, for your mother-in-law. To be a
Really?
wife material.
Okay.
Now, there is, when it comes to Islam, I can only speak for Islam. I'm a Muslim. When you are getting married, your mother or your family have a role to play.
Okay.
Your family have a role to play. The man's family have a role to play. We have the sadaki, which is the most important one. The merrymaking is constant. Even in tradition is there. When someone is getting married, you have to make merry. You cook, you eat, all those things, yes. But when you want to be extravagant, that's you. That's you. And not for ban. And you, the mother-in-law, you cannot tell the Amaria to buy you kente for what? You understand? Now, if, like the guy said, if the family decide to make things extremely expensive or too above their income, and they happen to face things like this, it goes back to harm the family.
Okay.
Because you see most situations, Obama no no if I know minibi, there is nothing you can do. So the woman have to call uncle, please, can you help me with this? Mommy, can you get me this? So you see how it's going. You are losing your respect as a man in the marriage. Though it's not your fault. And your fault say unibio. But you can prevent not having by not having that wedding that was not necessary.
Okay, so we have another story here. Someone actually has shared a comment on this conversation that we're having, but there's another story. Okay, so that is says that we are leaving out a key part of the conversation. People who have high value spouses but want to do low value things. It doesn't blend. So then we also need to find out from what are we using to determine who a high value spouse is at the end of the day then, because then what's the measuring standard? Like, where's the standard?
I think that would be a person's lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so too. And the financial capacity or capabilities of the person. If the person can afford to have a wedding reception at the Flagstaff house, you cannot go and tell the person.
The Flagstaff house.
To tell you the kind of money involved, and then you want the wedding done at
it's fine. Yeah, not a very. Oh, come on. Well, like a different place, basically.
Yeah,
okay.
Like just the primary
place.
school, the government school compound. It doesn't blend like the person says.
Saying, okay.
It doesn't blend.
So then that also will mean that the person will have to weigh their options and see who they are
you
dating
have
and
to
who
level
they're
up.
going into marriage with.
Yes.
Okay.
So mostly it's the men that have that, let's say, taste. The money, some women too, but when the man is financially stable and the woman is down a bit, but I want to marry her, and then yet we can't have the wedding per her budget, so it has to be per my budget, he can cover her.
So the man can cover the woman, but the woman can't cover the
because
man.
these kind of friends that are coming, it's for him.
Interesting.
Yes.
There's a whole societal, conversation that, like, because then there's a lot of pressure on the man.
If the woman has the money, that is what we are saying.
If the woman has
the
money,
she can help, but not with the dowry. The dowry is the problem here. The dowry is the problem. It's just like when you break your ankle and you want to go for this local treatment, they ask you to put a coin down before. In the Zongos, those in the Zongos who understand what I'm saying, the coin you are putting down is not the payment. It's not what the value of the person's work, but a tradition, a idea. I
see.
Answer.
All right. So our next story says, "Hi, I have a strong faith, but I am with someone whose faith is low. But my expectations is that she should also have the same strong faith like me, but that is what I couldn't get her to be. What should I do?" And this is Sufyan Golu.
Why do people think they can change adults? I don't understand.
Well, he has seen a future with this person and he's hoping that some adjustments will be made.
So the adjustment cannot be something that is more of a pillar.
Disorienting a person's...
Thank you. There are certain things you can't compromise.
Faculty.
There are certain things you can't compromise. Just like you taking your partner to a social function and the person drinks uncontrollably and disgraces you there, you marry the person so you can help the person stop drinking. I don't know. The person is used to that enjoyment, that's high level. No?
Old habits are very difficult to change or to correct, if I can put it that way.
Don't damage yourself.
There are some things that I feel are not that grave that one doesn't or wouldn't mind compromising, right? Compromising. But then again, it depends on the department we are talking about.
Yes.
This department is too strong of a department to think that you can just collapse
You can't flip
and
it.
reconstruct.
So then
it's going to be very difficult when it comes to things like faith.
Faith.
These are very sensitive things. You know?
Yeah.
Things like
Marrying a Christian and
Christian,
hoping.
those
So with
They
this
become
story
Muslims?
from Sufyan, for instance, so he says he has a strong faith, but he didn't say strong faith in what exactly. And then the lady has low. So it's not like the lady doesn't have faith at all. Her faith is low. So he's hoping that, with how strong his faith is, the lady can also maybe work
But
on.
then there are some
definitely has
people-
to do with religion.
It has
Shamima.
to do with religion. And the thing is,
This
she
couldn't
probably
be
is the
any
type
other
that
way.
prays
But you
at home, but not the type that is actively involved in church. And maybe this man too is someone that will always in church, morning, afternoon, evening, every program, every alpha hour, like, you get it. And she is not that type. She's just not that type.
All right.
It's
So
either you get used to that or, bro, find you as of mommy.
we've got Shamima and Harriet in studio for our open forum, strong and sassy conversation this Wednesday. We've got Steve on the phone. Hi, Steve. Good evening.
Hi, aKorfa.
Thank you for joining us. You're already laughing. Why are you laughing, Steve?
The conversation has just been intriguing.
Yeah. So share your thoughts with me. What do you think?
I think with your second story about differences in their faith,
Yes.
I have come to believe that you can't change people, neither can you fix them. So in terms of my relationship issues now, I try to go with people who at least share my interest up to a certain percentage, maybe 70. So let's say I'm the type who likes football. I wouldn't even date a lady who will call my phone all day because I'm out there watching football. I would rather go for a lady who would not complain or will go with me to the cinema to watch football. So when it comes to faith and interest, I think personally I go with the one whose interest most of them will share together, and I think that is something I have lived with. Thank you very much.
Okay, wait, Steve. So you don't believe in compromises then? Is that what you're saying? Because that's
Not really so.
okay.
I would compromise if needs be. But
All right.
there are certain grounds that the interest has to really balance. So
Okay.
I wouldn't go for someone whose interest I don't really share in at all, maybe some low value. And also, I wouldn't accept someone whose my interest they don't really share in at all. That is what I mean.
I see. So
But when
at
it comes
least
to
you guys will have a
compromises, I
common
would
ground.
Balance it and compromise.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Steve, for sharing that with us. We really appreciate it. Abu Mohammed, hi. Good evening.
Good evening, madam.
There's this, excitement in your voice. Tell me, what do you want to share?
I did not listen to the show fully. I listened to half. But the
Okay.
woman talk about something concerning Islamic perspective of marriage.
Uh-huh.
Little I want to say is, you see, marriage, man, you will definitely marry woman. Woman also marry man. So it cannot be. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself, before he married, he himself married man. So as a woman, if you see a guy and you feel like this is the type of guy I like, and you can sponsor whatever, go ahead and do that.
Hey, Abu Mohammed,
I
wow.
cannot pay her own
If you
sadaki.
see a man, and you know I like this man, you don't only have to contribute for the marriage. You still can go and propose to the man. That I like you, I want to marry you. It is not always the man who's supposed to approach women and say, I want to marry you. After all, if you see a guy you love, if you cannot say it verbally, do certain actions for him to know that you like him. And if you can sponsor and do the marriage, give birth, it is the benefit of both of you.
Wow. Abu,
Yes.
well, that's a very interesting take. Well, thank you very much for sharing all the same. Wow. Okay. We've got another. I think someone was contributing to our conversation here. Annie, can I please? Yeah. So it says, "Hi, aKorfa. It's very tricky. I know a lady whose fiance couldn't afford a suitcase for her dowry, so they used her suitcase instead for presentation. They have been happily married for over 30 years." It's coming from Essie, and so you just basically need to know who you're going into the partnership with. That's what we're getting from SC's story that she shared with us right here. Okay, I think there's another one that we'll like to quickly check out, so we know if we've got some time to quickly go through this. So this one says from Nana Kwesi says, marriage must happen between two responsible and capable adults. Personally, it's not a 50-50 nor 70-30 nor 60-40. It's a 100% journey. It's either you are 100% in mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially, or you are out. So then don't you also, wow, okay, Nana, because you're getting an applause from the ladies. Then is there something that society is not doing right when it comes to having conversations with young people who want to get into marriage? Because some people go into with your authority. I'm asking you, Harris, with the authority bit of the conversation where the man is the head of the house. Then the understanding for a lot of people will be the fact that, oh, then the man is bringing in 70% and I am bringing in 30.
aKorfa. Edio. But I can't wait to hear what Shamima says. But let me just say that it's like, again, you are talking about society, which we've already
established
about.
That
We've established this one. The society is you and I.
Yeah.
We decide what we want to do. We actually choose the things that we feel represent who we are, and give us that kind of sense of being alive, fulfillment, and
do we see that a lot though? Do we see that?
We do.
We're trying
not really we do, but we try. And then again, the pressure you spoke of is very high. But I always say that if you're not certain, if you have loose grounding, then you are likely to fall for anything.
Okay.
So in this case, it has to do with the person. Always 50-70, bring your best. I'll bring my best to the table. Let's work it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Your best may not be the best in my sight, right? My best may not be the best in your sight. So then you are thinking you are giving me 100%, but the 100% you are giving me, if I filter, I'm getting chaff, like 90% chaff. I'm only getting 10% substance, right?
Okay.
So then it differs, but then you can always come to a compromise, and that is what adults do. You have to want. We need to have this. We want to have this together. I want it. You want it.
And we want it to work.
We want it to work. So there must be established first.
Okay.
We both want it. If we both want it, what are the things that I have spotted that I think are not in order, that are likely to destroy this thing that we want to build? Are we willing to work at it together? Because it has to be both minds operating at a certain level. Otherwise, you won't get the best of people. So people I'm learning something around communication. It's not easy, especially when you think you've always had your own mind, until you feel like I've met someone, but the person is trying to work on my mind. Now, the question I need to ask myself is, I need to do a self-introspection. Is this good for me? Are you working on me, for the best of me, or you are manipulating me to your advantage?
Okay. All right.
So if you want someone, you actually want the best for them because they represent you. They are your reflection.
We've got Dawn on the phone. I'll get your thoughts shortly, Shamima. Hi, Dawn.
Yes.
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. So a quick one.
It's John, not Dawn. John.
Okay, John.
Yeah, John.
Sorry about that, John. So let's go ahead.
Okay. So you see, in the olden days, your parents married for you.
Hey, John, in the olden days, pa. Okay, continue.
Back in time.
That married for
The way they like.
Can you please speak up a little bit? I can hardly hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay. As time goes on, the situation evolves. Every decade, things change. Now, if you want each other, it's not a matter of you doing, nobody is doing nobody a favor. The two of you understand each other and you want to live together for the rest of your life. So if you have to take the next step, it has to be together. If the man has a financial muscle to do A to Z, that is fine. If you know very well that he doesn't have and you can afford, you the lady can also help out. You do help out. I know when my elder cousin was going to get married, she used some of her stuff. They didn't get everything. There were some of the stuff she had already. So they wrapped them and they used them the same as the engagement. After all, nobody outside is going to ask you, is this a new one or is your own stuff? So, I mean, it's the two of you that need to work it together. Don't put pressure on yourself. You are not to impress anybody. That one day is minute to the number of years that you have ahead of you and, the things that you are going to go through. So I think if you want to take that step, the two of you need to put your heads together and go in together. Nobody is doing nobody a favor.
Okay. Thank you very much, John. Nobody's doing anybody a favor is what he says. And so, we've got a few more minutes to wrap up. We've got 2 minutes to wrap up, by the way. So, quick one on the fact that, I think what Harriet was touching on. At what point are you compromising to ensure that this partnership is working and all of that?
Okay. It will depend on the individual involved, the two of you. If we are getting married, I assume if we've gotten to know each other and I know how focused you are, how determined you are to make it work, the future you want us to build together. So your effort and my effort is what counts.
Okay.
Now, if you give me the energy or the feeling that you are going to be just aiding me when I am rather the helping mate, it's not going to work. I'm not going to carry your burden. I'm not going to carry your responsibilities. I'm here to assist you in whatever we have to do to make the marriage work. So if the man can play his part, it's 100% thing, like
Harriet mentioned,
yeah. So if you are coming in with the mindset of I'll just do my part, you do your part, no. We are all going to do it together.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, ladies, for doing this with me. I had here Harriet Nate, CEO, Diplomatic Affairs, Media and Communications Limited. Also, Shemima Theresa Ayariga, who's also a businesswoman, for joining in our open forum, Strong and Sassy, here on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is aKorfa. Thanks to the production team, Mirabel Johnson, Anita Tay, with support from Oliver, making us visible on social media. So in case you missed the conversation, you didn't join in earlier, you can also check out our social media platforms for all of the details. The News at 8 is up. Right after that is The Overdrive with Kofi Hayford. Thank you very much for listening.
Joy 99.7.